Calgary Flames sensational sophomore Connor Zary went down with what looked like a season-ending injury 3 weeks ago, but a new update reveals that things are looking way better than anticipated for his knee. This is huge for a team trying to make their way into the playoffs. Plus, was sending Rory Kerins back down to the AHL the right move? We're going to get into all that and more in this video, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. Let's talk about Zary. Let's talk about some good news for Zary at that. So as we all know, in a game against Anaheim that I believe was 3 weeks ago today, Connor Zary went down with an awful injury. Any time there's a knee injury, things aren't good at all. Initial report said, look, this could be a little bit better than expected. Now it's way better than expected as we get into a good article here from the Hockey Writers written by Rupert McDonald, honestly becoming easily my favorite Flames writer. But he writes this: Calgary Flames insider gives positive Zary injury update, which I think is what absolutely everyone wanted to hear. Name me one Zary hater in the entire world. I don't think there is one. But either way, let's get into this. When Connor Zary left a game versus the Anaheim Ducks earlier in the month, many Flames fans feared that he would be out for the season. The 23-year-old was in a world of pain after going knee-on-knee with Ducks defenseman Drew Helleson, a collision which most viewed as accidental. And it probably was accidental. There was no malicious intent. No one was trying to injure anyone on the play, but it did still suck seeing Zary go down like that. And like we all know, knee injuries can be terrible. They can be season-ending. They can be career-ending. But thank goodness that is not the train it looks like we are on right now. Thankfully, it was confirmed just days after Zary went down that he would not be forced to miss the remainder of this season. An exact timeline wasn't given and still has yet to be provided. That said, a recent update from a Flames insider suggests he may be back a lot sooner than anyone would have expected. And again, this has serious implications because if Zary can get back into the lineup sooner than expected, he can really help the Flames make a push for the playoffs. There's a lot of people who are totally abandoning Team Tank right now and want to see this team make the playoffs, and they have a really good shot at it just because some of those teams of the Western Conference aren't playing all that good right now. So what's this big update? Well, Zary is out of knee brace. He's no longer wearing even the knee brace just 3 weeks after the injury. So Sportsnet's Eric Francis was one of several media members who recently attended the Flames' annual charity poker game. As is tradition, all of the Flames were in attendance at the event, including Zary. Francis mentioned that he not only was walking around great, but was no longer wearing the knee brace he had on for a time after suffering the injury. This is just good news upon good news. Nice to see Connor Zary walking around at the Flames charity poker tourney last night, Francis wrote on X. He's no longer wearing his brace, which is good news. Still no official timeline on his return, but encouraging news. I mean, if he's already walking around, that's way ahead of what most people thought initially. If he's already walking around without a brace 3 weeks after the injury, I mean, you might as well just lace up the skates today. Go ahead, Zary. We want to see you tonight. When Zary first went down, you couldn't help but wonder if the injury would be one that could impact his career going forward. It looked as though he had, at the very least, torn his ACL, which many players often struggle to come back from. Somehow, he was able to dodge that bullet completely. It's great news for this current Flames team and for the organization overall going forward. Like I said before, everyone loves Connor Zary, and he is pivotal for, the Flames' success, definitely going forward, but also this season as well. Everyone wants to see him back, and it's such, everyone can take a deep breath, sigh of relief. Oh my goodness, Zary is going to be okay. It didn't look as bad as everyone thought, and thank goodness he will be fine. And this is also important now. So Zary could be the Flames' internal rental. This is a good point here by McDonald. So he writes, despite being right in the thick of the playoff race, the Flames aren't a team that is expected to be making big moves, if any, come trade deadline on March 7th. Their success this season has been a pleasant surprise, and GM Craig Conroy has been adamant that he isn't looking to leverage the future for a short-term chase. The Flames aren't going to be looking at acquiring any upcoming UFAs for a potential playoff run, and there's no rentals involved. Remember when Brad Treliving would trade away the stupidest stuff for playoff rentals? Like, think of guys like, Oscar Fantenberg and Eric Gustafsson and stuff like that. Not bad players by any stretch of the imagination, but let's just say they weren't the rentals needed to go on a cup run. But either way, that said, While the Flames may not make any moves, that could be around the time when they bring Zary back into the lineup. It could be around trade deadline time. That in itself is a major pickup and could be what the Flames consider as an internal rental piece. While a return date is still up in the air, he is a very impactful player and one could very well be enough to get them into the playoffs in just a few months' time. And that's a great point. At the same time, though, the other side says do not rush him back, which is, of course, is what is most important here. His health, his knee is what is most important. Do not rush him back. If there, is any way that he doesn't play the rest of the season, that's okay. I mean, that's not ideal, but that is okay. But it looks like things are well ahead of being on track, which is amazing to see. And we really do hope that obviously he truly is okay and will be able to play. But again, his health is the number one priority. But a great update here. Now let's get into a bit of a Kerins update now, because in case you missed it, he was actually sent back down to the AHL yesterday. So here it is. The Flames have assigned Rory Kerins to the Calgary Wranglers. And a lot of people were up in arms about this one. Why? He was playing so well. There was one point where he was the leading NHL scorer points per game of all time. And now you're sending him back down to the A. And I know a lot of people do want to see him. He has set out the past couple games. But it is interesting here. Now, if we get into kind of some opinions here. So, Assistant General Manager Brad Pascal on Flames Talk on the Rory Kerins assignment. What did he have to say about it? He said, our discussions are we want our players playing. If he's not going to be in the lineup, we want him playing games. He'll have another call-up, I hope, at some point. Kerins was scratched both games this weekend. So, a player like Kerins, you do want him playing meaningful hockey. It's like how Tyson Barrie recently went down to the Wranglers. Might as well have him actually playing some hockey instead of being a scratch every single Flames game day. But it's interesting to note here that, he says he'll have another call-up, I hope, at some point. I mean, that doesn't give me full confidence that he will. You'd assume he will, but we have some more points of view here from Ryan Pike. So he said very light thoughts on Kerins to AHL. He said, no insight on if this is a real demotion to make him available for the AHL All-Star Classic or just to provide cap relief. So there's one point. You bring him back down to the A where he was being one of, if not the best players in the AHL this season. So putting him back down so he can get into that All-Star Classic, which is good for him, and also playing some games is obviously very important. Here's another point. If it is for cap relief, Kerins, who at $847,000 makes more than Clark Bishop, $775,000, and Bishop, of course, is still with the Flames right now. So this would allow the team, the Flames, to meet active roster requirements, 18 active skaters and 2 goalies, while maximizing cap savings. And that's not a huge deal for a team that isn't in any sort of cap constraints right now. However, the business side, it does make sense. Hopefully we do see Kerins back once all the All-Star festivities are over in the AHL. But there's your update on Kerins. Hopefully he will be back. Now let's get into tonight's game. It should be a very, very fun one. The Flames are back at home and they are hosting the Washington Capitals. This one goes at 7 p.m. tonight. I'm actually lucky enough to be going to this game, and I'll be sitting so close to the ice, the closest I've ever sat to the ice. I'll be in row 4. I'm so privileged to be able to say that. I literally cannot wait. But either way, as we know, the Capitals' best team in the Eastern Conference in the league right now. Logan Thompson, I can confidently say, is the second best goalie in the league this year. 2 regulation losses all season for him. How did he not make Team Canada for the Four Nations face-off? But either way, we do expect Wolf to go back in after Vladar's performance in Winnipeg the other night. And why is this kind of an extra special game? Well, it is the return of Mr. Andrew Mangiapane. Andrew will be back in the building. It seemed like the stars aligned for me to be in the dome when Andrew is back. But either way, this was really cute here. So Rasmus Andersson's son, Benji, helped make a welcome back sign for Andrew Mangiapane. That is so sweet. As we all know, the Mangiapanes, the Andersons, and the Gaudreaus were all very close during their time here. Young families here in Calgary. It's very sweet that, I believe it was Mangiapane's wife who said that Benji was making a sign for his favorite person in the whole world. So very sweet moment there. I'm sure Mangiapane will be getting some sort of tribute, and it should be very nice. he had some great goals as a Flame, so I'm sure that will be commemorated. Should be a great one tonight. If the Flames can get a win, oh baby, are they primed to really be in the driver's seat to get into a playoff spot. Now, let's get into the comment of the day to wrap up this video. And this was an interesting one here because yesterday's video we talked about Vladar. A lot of people are unhappy with Vladar. Seems like he's totally done. And so I thought this was very interesting here. So Sargent said, in the summer, you can sign Vasily Demchenko, a good option for a second goalkeeper. He now plays for Dynamo Minsk in the KHL. So that is an option. The Flames have actually now quite a few good goalies in the pipeline. Now that Dustin Wolf is definitely the number one goalie, maybe Vladar will not be here in the future, of course, if he does not re-sign. I know he wants to, but it looks interesting right now. But either way, hey, here's another option. You never know. Maybe we will go after Demchenko, and he could be a Flame come July. We'll just have to wait and see, of course. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe like you saw here today, and have a wonderful rest of your day.